formally inaugurating the Startup India campaign, I consciously use the word campaign because at the end of the day, it's going to be a program with which the government would only be at an arm's length. I think another very significant difference of what makes it a landmark event is the final break or the ultimate break that you have with the conventional license Raj of India. We ostensibly broke away from it in 1991. I am certainly not a great favorite with those who supported the idea of that license Raj even at that moment, because that was conceived with an idea that the government would decide as to what businesses can be carried on and by whom they could be carried on. The government would also decide the geographical locations and the volumes of those businesses. And the entire intention or the eventual consequence of that was to restrict the energies of the people, to constrain them, and find virtues in that constrained economy itself. We did well to break off from it in 1991. But the break was only partial. It was partial because who would be funded? There was an invisible role of the state. Control over land, land permissions, foreign investment proposals, environmental clearances, and of course, unless the political nods came to venture into newer areas which involved a lot of capital, a lot of energy going into it, an entrepreneur or an investor were normally reluctant. Our effort over the last few years has been to restrict the role of the state essentially as a facilitator or in policy domain. When Prime Minister Modi was voted to power in 2014, if I look back at the changes and the direction of the changes in which we moved in, I think some of them are extremely significant. I find that the traffic of industry visiting North Block has almost ended. There are no piles of FIPB clearances which are pending. There are no files to be pushed. Amitabh is being called repeatedly an evangelist because the DIPP was the corridor in which most people visited in order to have their proposals supported by the government. Its role is now one of a campaigner. Its role is now one of an enabler. And I think these are extremely important changes which have taken place.